History is full of strange events. But some stories are so unbelievable that they sound more like fiction than fact. From disasters that struck Titanic's sister ships, to a flood of beer that drowned London's streets. From miracles witnessed by thousands, to explosions that shook the earth itself. Even stories of people who cheated death again and again. These are not myths. They are real events, mind-blowing moments in history that seem impossible, but are absolutely true. The Great London Beer Flood of 1814. In October 1814, one of the strangest disasters in London's history struck, not of fire or war, but of beer. At the Muse and Company Brewery, a giant wooden fermentation vat holding over 500 liters of porter ale suddenly burst. The force shattered nearby vats too, unleashing a tidal wave of beer into the streets of St. Giles. A torrent of dark ale surged through the neighborhood, crashing into homes, flooding cellars, and even destroying the walls of a nearby pub. People were trapped in their houses, and tragically, at least 8 people drowned in what became known as the beer flood. Some stories claim desperate residents tried to scoop beer with pots and pans, while others describe the streets smelling like alcohol for days. What began as a normal day in London turned into one of history's most bizarre accidents, a literal flood of beer. To this day, historians look back on it as both tragic and almost unbelievable. The kind of event that sounds like a drunken legend but is entirely true. The Miracle of the Dancing Sun at Fatima, 1917. In October 1917, tens of thousands of people gathered in Fatima, Portugal, after 3 shepherd children claimed the Virgin Mary would perform a miracle. That morning, under heavy rain, crowds filled the fields with umbrellas and prayers. Suddenly, around noon, the storm clouds parted and the sun appeared, but not like normal. Witnesses said the sun spun like a wheel of fire, casting brilliant colors across the sky. Many swore it danced and zigzagged, plunging toward the earth before retreating. Some people screamed in fear, thinking it was the end of the world, while others fell to their knees in awe. Even skeptics and local journalists, who had come to mock the children, reported seeing the phenomenon. After about 10 minutes, the sun returned to its normal place and the soaked ground and clothes of the crowd were mysteriously dry. The Catholic Church later recognized it as the Miracle of the Sun, one of the most famous unexplained religious events in history. To this day, it remains a mystery with no clear scientific explanation. The Dancing Plague of 1518. In the summer of 1518, the city of Strasbourg, then part of the Holy Roman Empire, witnessed one of history's strangest and most terrifying events. A woman named Frau Trophäa suddenly began dancing in the streets without music. She danced non-stop for hours. And to everyone's shock, more people soon joined her. Within a week, dozens were frantically dancing, unable to stop. By the end of the month, the number of dancers had risen to over 400. Many collapsed from exhaustion. Some broke bones, and shockingly, several even died from heart attacks and strokes, all while still moving uncontrollably. Local authorities, believing it was caused by hot blood, even hired musicians and built a stage, thinking the victims would dance it out of their system. But the music only made things worse, and the plague spread further. Historians still debate the cause. Was it mass hysteria? Ergot fungus poisoning, a hallucinogenic mold on bread, or a strange psychological epidemic? No explanation fully fits. The dancing plague remains one of history's most mind-blowing, unsolved medical... The Tunguska event, 1908. On June 30th, 1908, a massive explosion shook the remote Siberian forest near the Tunguska River. The blast was so powerful, it flattened around 80 million trees across more than 800 square miles, yet left no visible crater. Eyewitnesses, even from villages 40 miles away, described a fireball streaking across the morning sky before a shockwave shattered windows and knocked people to the ground. The explosion's force has been estimated at 1,000 times stronger than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Strangely, despite the destruction, no confirmed human deaths were officially recorded, though nomadic herders later reported fatalities. For decades, scientists debated the cause. Was it a meteorite, a comet, or something more mysterious? Since no fragments were found, theories even ranged from alien spacecraft to secret weapons. Today, the most accepted explanation is that a space object, likely a comet or asteroid, exploded mid-air before reaching the ground. Still, the Tunguska event remains one of the most mind-blowing natural disasters ever, a cosmic reminder of how fragile life on Earth can be. Titanic's near-identical sister ship disaster. Most people know the tragedy of the Titanic, but what shocks many is that its sister ships, Olympic and Britannic, also faced incredible disasters. The Olympic, nearly identical to Titanic, collided with a British warship in 1911, tearing a massive hole in its hull. Yet it miraculously survived and limped back to port. But the Britannic met a darker fate. Built after Titanic with extra safety measures, it was considered unsinkable. In 1916, during World War I, Britannic was converted into a hospital ship. While sailing through the Aegean Sea, it struck a hidden German sea mine. The explosion was so violent that the ship sank in less than an hour, even faster than the Titanic. Over 30 lives were lost, but more than 1,000 survived. The eerie coincidence of three nearly identical ships, all plagued by catastrophic accidents, made people wonder if the entire project was cursed. The Titanic's sinking is legendary, but the strange fates of its sister ships prove that truth can be just as unbelievable as fiction. The Ghost Army of World War II. During World War II, the United States created one of the most unusual military units in history, known as the Ghost Army. Unlike regular soldiers, these men were artists, actors, sound engineers, and designers tasked with one mission: to deceive the enemy using illusions. They used inflatable rubber tanks, fake jeeps, and dummy artillery pieces to trick German forces into thinking there were massive armies where none actually existed. Along with visual illusions, they blasted recordings of gunfire, marching troops, and tank movements through giant loudspeakers, making their phantom army seem real. They even used stagecraft, painting scenery and setting up fake camps to mislead enemy spies. The Ghost Army carried out more than 20 deception operations, often right near the front lines, and many historians believe their tricks saved thousands of Allied lives. For decades, their existence was kept secret, and the soldiers were forbidden to speak about their missions. Only in recent years were their operations declassified, revealing one of the most creative and